Ericade.Radio. Here's a live broadcast from the Edison demo party with your hosts, DJ Daemon and Coreus.
We are back and we are ready to talk to you about everything that's going on here at Edison.
We made it. We're live.
Yeah, exactly.
And day 2 from Edison 2025 here in Sweden, Stockholm.
Yes, actually, it's Saturday here, and there are a number of people here. It's not as many as it was yesterday, but they are coming in, I guess.
I mean, it's still early for the demo scene, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, today's the big day. A lot of the main compos are going down later today, but right now it's the Ericade.Radio stream that you're listening to. We're also on Twitch, I believe.
Yes, we are, and
Where can you go to watch that?
You can go to twitch.tv/Edison Party.
That's right. Or just go to edisonparty.com to get all the relevant and needed information. We are this year it's a bit different from how we've done it previous years. Arcade radio stream will be a bit more condensed.
Mm-hmm.
But we are commentating the Edison stream later on today, commentating the various compos and stuff. So that's why we're keeping the Arcade a bit part shorter. Nevertheless, we have a lot of interesting content planned for that. So we are. Yeah, we will soon have an interview with a scener that's been doing it for a long time.
Yes, absolutely, and it's going to be interesting. We're not spoiling who it is, but you will probably know him because he is kind of famous.
He's kind of well known, so look forward to that. But before that, I need to ask you again. I asked you last year we were covering Poga Data in 2024 in Skåne, Lund or something.
Yes.
And I asked you the story behind this one because you have a knowledge that it sometimes surprises me, even me. And the next song is Xyce by Suaire de Turin.
Yes.
What the hell is that?
That is the shroud of Turin. It's supposed to be the shroud that Jesus were buried in. So it has a face of Jesus on top of it because it's been imprinted by it. But alas, it's fake.
That's what, like when people claim to see Jesus on a piece of toast.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a shroud. So it's pretty logic that it could have been with someone that looked a bit like Jesus, and they just
so they imagined or looked. So the face on the shroud, the shroud had a face imprint that looked like Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. As you said with the toaster. And people want to believe stuff like that, and alas, that means that there are a lot of people that can fool people.
And pay a lot of money on auctions and stuff. Nevertheless, Xyce has made a song about it, and that's the first song today. Welcome. It's Xyce and Suaire de Turin, or in English translated to
The Shroud of Jesus.
Shroud of Jesus. The thing that you can also see on your toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Allegedly. Yeah, we're live here from Edison 2025. What's the theme this year, DJ Daemon?
It is about seven sceners.
Seven sceners.
Yeah, that's exactly the
play
thing.
On the.
But we have 7 C's, I guess.
The 7 C's and then the 7 sceners. We are. We have a tight program packed with content today before on the Ericade.Radio stream. We're also on Twitch. If you head over there, you can actually see us right now at the bar. I'm the guy waving to the left there, and DJ Daemon is in the corner controlling all the volumes. So if you're listening on the Ericade.Radio stream, you can also see us over at twitch.tv/Edison Party. We are setting up for our first interview here soon, but before that we have this is a classic one.
Next one is Firefox and Tip of Phenomena and Musiklinjen. Yeah, you know this one.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, here we are, listening to the Ericade.Radio network and making sure we get the best music from yesteryear.
Let's see.
Yeah.
There we are.
Hello.
Right, so we're here, as you said, directly from Edison Party 2025, and we're here at the bar with a singer, composer, and all-around very knowledgeable music composer, I would say. It's Alpa. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
If you're on Twitch, you can watch us there. We're live also at the twitch.tv/Edison Party. So yes, for the two people out there who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got started in the scene?
Yeah. So how far should we go here? So, like first grade.
Feel free. Okay. I'll stop you.
Okay.
If it goes
good.
Too far.
Short story. Got my first computer when I was 8 maybe, and fell in love with the sound of it. And
what was your first computer?
The first one was actually an MSX 728.
Oh.
So Nemesis, or Gradius as it's now called, but Nemesis was the version. So I fell in love with it, and then I had a C64 and then an Amiga. And first music program on the Amiga was a notation software. I had wished it for my
birthday or
no, for Christmas.
For Christmas.
So when I got it, we were at another address. So I took my bike in the middle of the winter and ran as fast as I humanly could home just to start up this program and make my own music, since I couldn't program for shit. Later on got into trackers. I started dreaming of making a demo.
So where in history are we now? Like what year-ish?
Year-ish, I would say around 1990.
1990.
So that's when it all began. Got into Pro Tracker, or first one was Sound Tracker, and then there was a bunch of different ones, but Pro Tracker was the end of it. But Noise Tracker, I think, was the first I really started to get happy with the sounds or tweaks or blurps that I made. And from there on, we went to parties, and in those days, there were people rented schools. So basically, there were entire groups or several groups in classrooms, and then we ran around like idiots and tried to find out who was releasing a demo, who was releasing a song, who was doing.
So there was no whiteboard or signs telling what's going on in that room.
No. I mean, there was a timetable, of course. Biggest party I went to was ECES, and that was 1991, and that was a big one. It was I think 600 people.
Shit.
And all of my heroes were there, so it was nerve-wracking. I was 17 years old and seeing the people for real first time.
So where was this party?
Eskilstuna.
Eskilstuna, all right.
Yeah, so Eskilstuna Computer Entertainment.
So where in Sweden are we then?
Smack down in the middle, I would say.
In the middle of Sweden.
Yeah. Or Stockholm, and then just go a bit towards Norway, and then pretty much Eskilstuna.
So a bit west from Stockholm.
Yeah, sort of. I suck at geography, but somewhere around there.
Just so we place it ish on the map, but it was in the center-ish of Sweden.
Yeah.
And there you met a lot of your heroes and put a
I saw
face.
them at the distance and was like, oh my god.
Yeah. But you also put a face to the handles. Nicknames, right?
Yeah. And I mean, just walking around in this classroom, finding out where people sat, you didn't have a face to the name until you saw
they had a
sticker
name tag?
where it said, oh, that's him. So it was a bit of a nerve-wracking revelation. And on that party, we had planned to release a demo. Demo didn't get finished, and I had a track that I was happy with, but it was nothing in the league of what I thought was good. So this is pretty okay. And my friend said, you should actually compete with this one. I was like, no. Have you seen who's here? That's never going to happen.
Right.
Because I was like, they are out of my league. But he entered this track.
Without you knowing?
Without me knowing. I knew when we sat there in the auditorium, 500 people. So I got really mad at him. Really mad. I was like, why? I mean, just listen to the songs being played and you'll see what I mean. So then back then they only played the top 3. There was no voting. I think there was a jury that voted the songs. So they played number 3, number 2, number 1. And when they played third, I told them, listen to this. This is amazing. I'm nowhere. And then they played the second one, also amazing. And then they played my track.
On the first place?
Yeah, so we got first place. I didn't understand. So I just stood up and screamed by like a reaction and then sat down very quick. So that was
out of happiness or were you angry?
Happiness, pure joy,
then
pure embarrassment. So that was a big moment. And then after ECS 1991, it was about 25 years of nothing. And life.
Artist break.
Artist break. Life and girlfriends and
all of that,
jobs and all those things.
Yeah.
And then by some random accident, I stumbled into Edison 2015 and found out it's the same people, it's the same computers, it's the same type of compos, and basically nothing has happened. But everybody loved it. Since they grew up with it, just like I did. And since then, I got back into music, so I have a few people to thank for this, because I was dreaming about making music for 25 years, but I didn't do anything until...
Right. So how did you come about Edison 2015?
Yeah, that was actually Danko who
from Fairlight.
Yeah, who thought I can get you in. He said, "So okay, really? Is it true? Is there any seats left?" I didn't know, and this was held at Eggeby Gård, the previous
location.
And a lot of people were coming back to the scene, like one after the other. I talked to people, and somebody started like in 2012. Somebody got there in 2015, like me, and then people in 2017 and 2018, and then you started meeting all these people like-minded that just loved it as much as you do, which I didn't think these people existed. I thought that everybody's grown up now. Everybody has a job and a wife and a kids and all that, and you can't run away and play with your computers from back in the day. But so here we are.
So I'm just interested if you go back, how you said that you recognize a lot of your heroes back at the demo party in '91, but how did you find out about them? Were you like
listening to their mods?
So
seeing their demos, listening to their mods. I mean, back then you saw who made the music, like for say Firefox or Jester or Danko or whoever, but you didn't really know who they were.
But you kind of like connected I really like this song, who made it, and then it kind of stuck.
And then you try to find, or back in those days there were no internet, so if you wanted new software or new tracks or new anything, you had to swap or find people to swap with.
Right.
So you have to take a train, go somewhere, copy a sample disc, and then go home, and then you had the super tight drum or the great bass sound from a certain synth or whatever.
Right. So like a change of hand.
Change of hand. It was like how do you say, an IRL internet back in the day.
IRL internet.
You met people and you swapped.
You can also go and order by postal order sound discs.
Was that a thing?
There were BBS, but I never got into that. It was too advanced for me. I just liked sounds and was really, really bad at everything else.
Well, we will talk a bit about your music, I would say career as it were. But first we'll have some music. How about it, DJ Daemon?
Absolutely. Yeah. We are going on with Lizardking and God's Revenge.
Oh, good stuff.
He's angry this time.
He's angry.
Are you a god? No. Then...
All right, yeah, God is still angry this time around. I don't know why really, but it's one of Lizardking's more famous tunes.
He's also Swedish, isn't he?
Yeah. Actually,
Gustav, I don't remember his last name.
Yeah.
Gustav something. Dusk Pop, Dusk Pop.
Yeah, according to legend, it's called Dusk Pop, and he was one of the inventors of it. And another guy.
It's a genre of music, then.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you look at Wikipedia what it will say, if it will say anything. But I'm guessing a Amiga version of Italo disco-ish or space disco or
Catchy as hell, nevertheless.
Yeah. He's great.
We have Alpa with us still here at the bar at Edison 2025. And before the break, we were talking a bit about how you got into the scene and how you got back into it, kind of. And you said that you got your first computer at 8, but it seems like music. You have created a lot of music, and it seems like to be your forte. How long have you been interested in music? If you put just computers to the side, is that related to computers? Do they coincide, or is it something that has always been kind of with you?
My parents said they always knew when I was coming home because they heard me whistling in the staircase.
Stairway.
Yeah, a stairway. So there was a great reverb. So every time I walked into a space where I can hear like the echoes, I started whistling and humming and doing even from when I was like 3, I guess. So I'm guessing music has always been
with you.
Yeah, an expression form, an audio diary, I guess. And then to create it myself was just a dream. And then you started learning how to do it. And it's still the same story. It doesn't matter if I'm 8 or 52, which I will soon become. So same story, better tools or more fun.
But do you have any music education, or have you studied? Zero. Okay.
Yeah,
so you're self-taught, or have you friends that have helped you out? Or
I mean, I would say the teachers would be the other people making the demo tracks. The mods.
Learning from others.
Learning from them, just loading a track that you heard in the demo and be like, how the hell did they make this? And then you turn off channels, and then you start looking at, okay, so this is
lane.
Okay, so they have the bass drum and the bass in the same channel. Wow, I've never done that. So just learning from how other people made it and how they made it to sound more than 4 channels.
Right. Yeah, because that's a thing.
That's hard. I mean, to people who love SID, which everybody does, 4 channels is cheating. You should have 3 tops. Yeah,
I believe you. According to sources on the internet that track contributions, I'm seeing that you've been involved in around 115 productions.
Oh, really?
And that's a lot, of course. But I'm a bit interested in how the process is. We have talked to others like Fegelhus and also others that what goes into when he's creating like an art piece. What's the process there? What's your state of mind? How do you start when you're starting a piece, a music piece?
I mean,
where do you begin?
When I was younger, 17, 14, you sat at your computer. You were sitting and there was no like handheld battery-driven things. There was just an old Gold Star 14-inch heavy TV that you connected your computer to, and then you sat there. So that was the work mode. Somewhere around 2016, I guess, I realized that laying down instead of sitting gave me a connection to ideas that I never had before. So the whole idea with laptop on your chest, but you're laying down, and then I get a connection. So if I get an idea, I just try to do an astral copy-paste. A copy from wherever the idea came from, just get it down in a simple melody, and then try to build from there. Should it be a bass? Should it be chords? What drums should it be? And then you build from the loop. But I try to make loops. I don't make music. I just build upon a loop until I can't do anything more with it, and then it's a track, and then I want to get rid of it.
Okay, so you start to work in loops,
Yeah.
Not an entire composition?
No. It's usually some sort of humming. I can wake up in the middle of the night and the melody is humming in my head. I don't know how it should be, what type of genre or how it should be. I just up on the laptop, 4 o'clock in the morning, just get it down as quick as I can.
And fall asleep again.
Yeah, and then some days later you work on it some more, and then you maybe it could be this bass change or this chord change. That's the next step in the song, and then it's like writing a story, basically. But you don't know where it's going to go from the beginning.
Do you have like templates, like a piece that you're combining with another piece? No. I have a bass line there that might work here.
No. I mean, it's the only thing I can be blamed for is that I've been using the same exact sound set for chiptune music. I found a song, I really loved it, so I just clear data, and then I made my first chip song. And it's been sounding the same ever since, and I don't know how to make chip sounds. So people have been blaming me for maybe you should update your sounds a bit.
Your library?
Yeah, and knowledge on how to make chip sounds, but that's what I do.
But as I said, you have 150 productions, and it's not all chip tunes.
No,
it's the whole spectrum from streaming music to
stupid videos.
Exactly. But so the variety. It seems like you're not sticking to one specific category per se.
No, I can have
category.
I can have techno polka in my head or samba or whatever. Whatever sounds good, I follow.
Right.
Then sometimes it's one genre, maybe it's chip music. Sometimes maybe it's something else. And depending on
I've heard techno, I have chip tunes from you. I heard reggae, I've heard shanties, I heard Eastern mystical ninja themes, kind of. Yeah. So you're very varied in what you create.
Ninja is my first love. That's the first love. Ninja. I mean, the game that really got me psyched about how amazing something could sound. That's Last Ninja 2 and Matt Gray.
Wow.
That was like, oh my god. And so I've always been in love with Asian themed, ninjas, the warrior mentality, old Japan, 16th century or whatever, high beautiful temples and stuff like that.
Yeah. We talked, do you recall that, DJ Daemon? We talked about Last Ninja and Last Ninja 2 a couple of years back.
Yeah, it was a magic thing.
We were talking about of course, the music is stellar, but the game itself plays like ass. Sorry.
Yeah. It's a very tough game. There's one place where everybody just dies. It's when you're supposed to jump on a boat and then jump.
I remember it.
Yeah.
So it was in like a grid like this instead of this or this.
Yeah, it's
that was a unique thing.
What's it called?
A few years ago, there was
isometric.
What's called Back in Time in Bergen. So Matt Gray that wrote the music and the most famous C64 composer, which I just lost the name of, Hubbard. They were there to celebrate. And the day after, I got invited to go for a brunch at the house with one of the sound technicians and Siphoid, who stayed there. And it was a brunch with Matt Gray, which was the first guy was an inspiration. So that was great, just meeting him, sitting and chatting about everything.
Yeah.
So to meet the hero, that was a bucket list event for sure.
I've had the same kind of revelation just coming here into Pogadata over the years. Just as you said, putting a face to the name.
Yeah.
And I hear it's a repeating response, but they're surprised at how nice everyone is. It's strange to say, but it's also people in the scene are so nice.
It's good people. Yeah. Good people with a great nerdy passion for strange things.
But wasn't it like that it was a more harsh attitude back then?
Yeah. It was competition, fierce competition. And if you were part of one group, you could get kicked out of a group, or you could change group, and then you were maybe not welcome back.
Yeah, the demo or the scene landscape was very different back then.
Yeah. I mean, 17-year-old young guys doing
with an attitude,
and with a dream that spells competition.
Yeah, but competition still it is. And this year, are you competing in any events at Edison 2025?
Yes, I am in 2. One streaming song and one composition for a lovely little story that I was asked to do.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know what you talk about.
You might have a clue.
So, what are you? We also ask sceners that join us at the desk or the bar. What compo are you looking forward to?
I mean, streaming is always great,
Streaming?
but tracked music. And I got a very strong gut sense this year. There's going to be a lot of good things in all of the compos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of it. Not just music.
Looking at the visitor lists over at edisonparty.com, we're looking at over 90 people that have registered, at least. So there's a lot of people, a lot of creative minds coming here.
Yeah.
So there's...
and there's all the people at home that have bought a ticket and sending in remote entries.
Remote entries, yeah.
I think there's going to be a ton from them. That's the gut feeling, I think.
Yeah. It's always interesting to see, and that will happen later this evening, so stay tuned for that when the Edison stream starts for real.
Yeah.
But we'll let you go here soon, but before you do, you had a requested tune that you really like. What was it?
Yeah, but I changed my mind last minute, and you're...
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so...
Also, there's coffee on your nose.
Oh, there's coffee on my nose. Yeah. So, no, I really love Molecule's Revenge by Jester, and I haven't seen anyone do a remix of it, so one day I will, for sure.
Is it is it an isolated tune, or is it from
I think it's from a music disc he made.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember which one, but I really fell in love with the quirkiness of it and Jester's unique style. So Molecule's Revenge by Jester.
Molecule's Revenge. Thank you very much for your time here, and enjoy the rest of the party, and good luck with your competing contributions.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Ericade.Radio. Live from the Edison Demo Party 2025 with your hosts, DJ Daemon and Coreus.
There we are. We're back.
Yes, absolutely. It was a short break because I needed to tell you something about the demo stream. The competition that's coming up for graphics artists.
Fast graphics.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the theme and the thing that they have to make something for. Has been announced, and they have just a couple of hours to create and submit it to the event. If you want to look at what's going on here, you can go to twitch.tv/Edison Party. We're also on Ericade.Radio, that's Ericade.Radio. And in a few moments, we will have another interview. They're coming head-to-head here almost. But first, we will enjoy some Hobbes adventure, right?
Yeah, it's Coax who has made it. Absolutely great music. That was
Cox.
Cox and Hobbes Adventure. Coax, I think his name.
Coax with a zero, right?
Yeah, actually.
O and a zero. Right, we're here from Edison 2025. If you're on Twitch, you can see us there, twitch.tv/Edison Party. We're here at the bar. And with me here, it's been a couple of years since I had the first honor of meeting this guy, quite randomly, I might add. He immediately reverberated a knowledge and glowing interest for coding on systems so old that they could be your parent. He's a member of the legendary Swedish-based demo and cracking group Fairlight and has won countless demo productions with the same group. He's also a professor to boot and implemented techniques that's been used in games. Even I'm humbled and excited to welcome Trident to the bar.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. You have an impressive. Before we start on like how you got into how you got into the scene and all that, I just want to briefly touch on you have an impressive resume that includes you're the founder of Internet Protocol for Smart Objects Alliance. You have written a PhD thesis on something called proto-threads, which I vaguely understand, but apparently it's extremely lightweight, stackless threads.
Correct, yeah.
For use in memory, very constricted memory system, or system with. And your work has won several awards as well. How does that feel?
Yeah, well, that's great.
That's great. It's been used in games, software, and it's taught even in university. I mean, it's. I'm kind of baffled. It's you've done a lot, but like how did you get there? Like how did you get interested in all of this like highly technical stuff?
Well, I guess for me, I kind of started where we are now, like in this demo scene, back as a kid.
Yeah.
Like that's where.
What year are we in then?
Well, 1990 sometime,
right?
About that time, quite young, really young. Was fascinated by the combination of like visuals and the technology and kind of the really advanced stuff that we do in the demo scene,
right?
Combined with the visuals and the music and the aesthetics of just making things that were cool and impressive at the same time.
So let's just get it out of the way. Who are you in the scene, and how you touched on it? How do you start, and what kind of drives you to continue on?
So I guess the combination again of aesthetics, of like things that are visually impressive, that are just speaks to you in that sense, combined with things that tell stories. Like it can make a demo that actually tells some kind of story. That combined with technical advancement. This whole scene is always pushed one step further. Every demo pushes something one step more, and I just really like that progression of. It's not really, you might think of this as being a kind of retro, but it's not really at all. It's about pushing things one step further, even though we're, the technology may be old that we were using. It's 40 years old computers and stuff, but really that we can still push it. We can still do things that are new. Something that hasn't been done before,
right?
And I think that combination of things is really, there's so much in just general life or technology that is about progression like that. You do something just one step more, but what we do here is combine that with the aesthetics, the storytelling and the visually impressive, audioly impressive things. I just like that combo.
So when you started, obviously, I would guess that it was the C64 you started on, or did you start on other systems?
Well, I did, play around with various computers, but really the C64 is the one.
So what's so appealing with the C64 outside of if you take away the nostalgic glasses, just like in a raw sense, what's so interesting about that system?
Well, a couple of things. One of them is that you can it has really good sound. So you can make music that really sounds good. It's not like a blip-bloppy style, but really good sound. It's constrained, it's 3 voices and all that, but it sounds really good. So this is, people have turned the SID chip from the 64 into synths, and it's made on,
right.
Mainstream music uses this. So it's really a sound chip that sounds good. And that combined with, I guess, the constraints of the platform that are just enough so that you run into the constraints immediately, but it's still good enough so you can do things, so you can do visually impressive stuff. And so it's kind of, as a whole, it has that kind of soul. It looks good,
the whole
sounds
package,
good.
kind of.
And it has more soul than, I guess, many other, for me at least, from many other platforms that just don't have
because
that.
I have a question later on, but perhaps I could just jump in now. Is because I got the impression last time we spoke that starting to code or hack the C64 isn't something you just jump into. You coded for the C64 since the 90s.
Yeah.
You have a lot of knowledge, but like. Where do you, like these days, for those two people interested in creating for the C64 or don't already know, how do they start?
I think today is much easier than before because there are so many things that you can download, like tools. You can plug it into VS Code. You can plug it into assemblers that just produce output that you can run on the C64. You can run emulators. Everything is integrated, so you don't need to. You never need to touch any hardware. You can just do everything on a PC computer, and that's it. And so in that sense, it's way easier. There is so much more available example code, examples like showing how to do things. I guess the only thing that you can't really do is that you cannot use AI to get started because all the AIs are really crappy at this. They're so wrong and confidently wrong.
So you don't think it's hard getting into hacking the C64 today?
I think it's easier than before. I'm kind of the wrong person to ask because I've done this forever, so I don't know where to start, really. But I've seen a lot of things recently available that look really, really good.
So there's been a kind of a development in that area for recent years or something?
Definitely.
We will get into how you're able to produce a lot of stuff so fast, but first we'll have a music break here with some Le Music.
Absolutely, it's Anchoret, Sharon and Joy with Deee-lited, and we are delighted here at Ericade.Radio.
Is this microphone working? Well, oh, sorry. Okay. 1, 2, 3. No, shut up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. push on to the next bit now?
Should we go on to the next bit? Indeed. We're here at Edison Party 2025 at the bar in the middle of Stockholm with the Trident across the desk here. If you're watching on stream, you can see us. And before the break, we were talking about whether or not it was hard to get into the C64, which you said that it's easier now than ever. Still, I read a lot of questions that people ask you from looking at demos like 3037, which is an impressive demo. How are you able to produce them so fast? Are you hiding a bunch of Commodore 64 programming elves somewhere to do your work? What's your secret?
Well, I guess, for me, it's about just making the hard things easy and taking away all the stuff that was, for me, that was always annoying in producing demos and doing things. Just turn those things into easy things so that you don't have as little of the annoyances as possible. So you can really do. So for me, there were two things that were always problematic. One was how to structure code on the screen from top to bottom, where things went and what happened there, because that's what Commodore 64 programming is a lot about, managing what happens on the screen. And it was always a pain to set it up with raster interrupts. So the proto threads thing that you mentioned actually turns really well into this. Where you can use those techniques to make the coding easier of where to do things on the screen. Okay. The other problem is where to do things in time. So first things that happen, then something else happens. The third, something else happens. Again, you can use the same techniques there, make that really easy. So now all of a sudden it's easy to do things like do things on the screen, do things in time, and suddenly the hard things are easy. And it's not so hard anymore.
Because you've done a lot of the hard work, but also the result of other people in the scene assisting or joining in on the research.
Oh, well, certainly, of course, in making a demo, it's not just the program is one part.
Yeah.
But of course, the music, the graphics, and everything that goes along with that.
Of course, but the various programming techniques like Ghost Byte, D11 registers, and things like that, is that when I listened to your talk at Fjelldata, I think it was 24, it was not clear to me whether or not this was something you had discovered or if it was something that has been discovered by people out in the world or everyone.
No. Yeah, no. It's really about the people in the world over a period of 35, 40 years.
Right.
So a lot of people have just been early on trying to discover these things through really crude tools. Like you're sitting on a machine, on the actual machine, right, interacting with a machine code monitor and trying to do things really, really hard. And we were kids.
But you had time.
Well, yeah, but still, this wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something that and everyone just kind of picked it up on their own and went along and did all these things and figured all these things out. And I'm just, I figured out a few things there too, but really, it's a huge wealth of knowledge that people have accumulated over the years. And I'm just, talking about that.
Yeah.
So.
But so you're able to produce impressive demos also because you produce them faster because of you have bits of code that does this.
Yeah.
That you can replicate or reuse, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna dive into some of the techniques, not all of them, because that's an entire podcast on its own, or a year of content. But development of the C64 is still at a mind-boggling pace from what I can see. Just recent years, there have been developments. If the creators of the system could see you now, they would probably be out of their mind. The most recent development is using the register D011, or you just call it D11.
D011, yeah.
D011. And bad lines. It's a trick to get a wavy effect on screen, in layman's terms. Without getting really technical, can you tell us about how that works?
Well, I guess basically the technique is about on the Commodore 64, everything kind of follows in lockstep. So the graphics chip is painting the screen from top to bottom, line by really pixel by pixel.
Yeah.
And the CPU is running at the same speed. So everything that you can see on the screen corresponds to a specific CPU cycle. And by setting the right register at the right cycle, you can do things with like what happens on the screen. This DU11 is kind of the central register for a lot of things. And so the interesting part of it, so people have been playing around with this forever. But now this year, there was, starting by a demo by Boost Design, released a new kind of effect that kind of came out of nowhere that should have been out. I mean, we should have
been seen it before, kind of?
Yeah, we should have. It feels like this should have been out by 89-ish, and people would have done it to death. But no.
It's like in 2025, this has been kind of
the new thing coming out
resurfaced.
now. Yeah, so it's interesting how we, after all this time, have figured new things out and realize how that can be done. And it's not really that hard either. It's just an insight that came out of like
experimenting and testing out.
And people have been really doing this for a long time. So the Pernod, the guy in this case did it, has been around. I mean, he's done things like this since 1989. Yeah. And keeps doing them now. Yeah. So it's really quite cool.
You should, for all of you listening, you should check out, of course, Fairlight TV, where he talks about this in depth. It's really interesting. I'll shortly also jump into, even though you have explained it in Fairlight TV 109, where you went through the scenes of, or behind the scenes of the excellent 1337 demo. Even though for those listeners of Ericade.Radio and perhaps those that just tuned in on the Edison stream, twitch.tv/Edison party, can you... how do you start planning and creating a demo? Do you use storyboards? Are people reviewing them before production starts? Is there a QA during demo? What tools do you use? How do you communicate? What are the different disciplines of a demo?
Well, I guess so. 1337 was started with a screenplay. Yeah, really taken from like a movie style screenplay. Written in the same, so that they're all written in the same font of the same size, like a typewriter style thing. Yeah. So it fits on. So you get a feeling for how long things will be, and that's where it started. Like that's how it is. That's what you can see in the demo as well. But then in the screenplay, there are places where it said just demo effects here, and then there are a bunch of things happening outside of the storyline. But that's how kind of like the storyline is starting.
But you started. You had an idea or notion of time, and you also wanted to do something like a spy thriller theme. Or something like that.
Oh yeah. So this 1337 demo is two things. Where like the concept was time. Wanted to do something, but just kind of counted down, and a natural progression or natural kind of a disaster or something, impending doom.
Impending doom. Yeah.
And the other part was just ridiculous idea of making something like a huge story, something like a James Bond style movie, with just a. Something huge,
extravagant storyline, and also like so large it wouldn't fit on any disc at the time. So, but is it possible to run that thing on a regular Commodore 64?
Oh sure, absolutely. Oh yeah, everything. Yeah, runs on a stock machine. There's no.
You don't need emulation and extra.
No. That's really key to this.
That's key to
everything runs on the same hardware as was ever present.
That's and you is the like that demo, is it representative of how you work on all demos, like with the do you have storyboards, Q&A, back and forth? I guess you use Discord as well.
We do it over Discord, everything. But this demo was really the kind of the largest one. Yeah. So it's kind of on a special
it's also
case.
For all of you out there, is also one of the highest rated on CSDB. So you should check that out if you have a real Commodore 64 or emulated one. But still, you should check that one out. We have a couple more questions, but we need a little bit of a music break, and this time it's MyVoice with Alertia.
to the Ericade.Radio network, and actually we are broadcasting live from Edison here right now. So we are coming into the third part of the interview with Trident.
Trident is here at the desk. You can see us live if you want, or if you dare, at twitch.tv/Edison Party, also at edisonparty.com here in Stockholm, Sweden. We are, as I said, graced with the presence of Trident, long-time member of Fairlight, and coder of the C64, I think is a safe thing to say. And before the break, we talked a bit about how demo production starts and some of the processes behind that. Obviously, the C64 owes a lot of credit to a technique discovered back in the 80s by Rawhead or Bitbuster.
Oh yeah,
you said. I don't know much about that, and perhaps the listeners don't know either. What is it, and why is it so important?
Well, actually, to be honest, it's not that important because it hasn't been used much. Okay. It's one of those techniques that came out. So, for some reason, and I have no idea how it did it. So, Bitbuster of Rawhead in 1989 figured out a way to stretch a picture vertically on the C64, which is something that you just can't do it. There is no, built-in way to stretch out pixels. It's insane that he just did it. And he figured out a way, and now, the rest of us can learn from that idea and do it the same technique. But it's really, really interesting to see how someone, before even, there were a bunch of effects on the C64 that kind of follow the same pattern of you do things with this DO11 register. But this was before many of them were even discovered. So he just figured it out on his own. Usually people were sitting with their Commodore machines on their room with a TV set and a machine code monitor and kind of playing around and doing things.
Right.
And for some reason, he just took that like 2 or 3 notches up over what anyone else did at the time. It's so cool to just see it now.
Does the technique have a name, or is it just...
bitmap stretching.
Bitmap stretching, yeah. Okay. Ghost Bite, that's right. Another thing. It's a fairly more recent one.
So
what's that all about?
So the Ghost Bite is a set of 8 black pixels that appear in the borders when you open the borders.
We should say borders is the border around the Commodore output.
Yeah,
but it's really hard to draw there.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's kind of like almost quote-unquote off limits, but not really.
Exactly. There are a few things that you can do out in the borders, but you can use sprites and you can use these Ghost Bites. And the Ghost Bites are really limited because you can only have 8 black pixels that get repeated all over again, over and over. And there are ways to work with those and achieve impressive effects. So that's what we did in the demo of the Ghost, which was really made by Red Crab of GP, who started drawing pictures that or fonts and text that made use of this Ghost Bite. And we put together a demo out of that, and it was, to me, it's super impressive to see it because, of course, I coded it, so I know how it's done. But still, just seeing those things really, came down to the impressive skills of Red Crab to draw the right pixels in an insanely cool way. And
in layman terms, just looking at the screen, it's a bit of text that's printed on the bottom border, right?
Right. So the thrill of it is that you can produce unexpanded pixels in the normal area of the screen, but if you want to place those things in the border area, they get expanded. They get twice as large, basically. And with the Ghost Bite technique, we can sort of fake it so it looks like you have a full view with unexpanded.
A normal width.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like, if you ever try to do that, you realize that you just can't be done. But it's done. So you're kind of left there standing and just blinking. I have no idea how that, and they can sort of figure it out. But that kind of impressive effect is what you'd like to achieve.
But can you? So the Ghost demo, from what I saw, it was written on the bottom.
Yeah.
Can you write on all the borders? Right, left, and top.
No, those are just the top and the bottom.
Okay, so just top and bottom.
Yeah.
Left and right is still off limits.
There are different limits there.
Okay, but it can be done. But it's not related to Ghostbite.
No, the Ghostbite is only visible in that part of the upper and lower border, not the side border area.
I see. Okay. I think we dipped into earlier, but still, like, it's a bit interesting question of what on earth keep you guys still interested in hacking a system that's over 40 years old? Like, why not use something that's a little more powerful? I mean, to avoid some of the many headaches the system exhibits?
Well, I guess the headaches are what makes it interesting. I mean, it's really the limitations that make it interesting. It's like... anything really that we do as it's like having a football. If you'd have 22 balls, you'd make a lot more goals, but it's not as fun. But,
well put.
So it's kind of like that.
And I mean, it's a common theme in the scene as well. Like you want to work with limitations. If you're not limited, then it's not interesting.
No, yeah. I mean, you could just play a video.
But there are still like systems that are limited, but are a bit more powerful.
Yeah.
So like it's a bit like the turbo graphics, and there are other that are more like. Why do you think the C64 is so still extremely popular?
I think it kind of hits a sweet spot for a lot of people. Of course, there were a lot of people that grew up with it, and of course, it's like everyone gets 1 year older every year, and the same goes for the average age of the scene.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of people coming in. So I think a lot of it has to do with people getting stuck with this at some age and just liked it and kept going. Yeah. And some have
it has that like kind of soul that's like tangible soul, kind of hard to define.
And also a lot of that comes just with the people, of course. I mean, if it was just that machine, that wouldn't be very interesting. Mm-hmm. But it's all about the people,
the environment and the scene around it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's jump into this year. We're at Edison 2025, and Fairlight is always present when it comes to contributing to demo parties. And this year, are you competing in any events this year?
Oh yeah, we just uploaded here before we sat down. Uploaded the demo for the old school demo compo, and we have at least one tune for the music compo, the old school music compo as well.
Okay.
And there may be more coming in, but so it's going to be an exciting evening here.
Do you have you might be biased, but do you have a favorite compo as well?
I think
I know the question.
Old school demo.
Old school demo.
Yeah. Not biased at all.
No, I think that's a fan favorite for a lot of them. Yes, I think that's the round of questions for now. But before we let you go, you had a tune you wanted to hear. What was it?
Oh yeah, it's one. It's by Rock. It's one of. It's really an old school feel, but a new tune. So from, I think, 2022, an Endemical Anniversary, but made using the original Future Composer program by Matrix of Noise back in 1988. So it has a very old school, high energy feel to it. And I just love it. I think it captures what we've been talking about here.
It's a SID tune, right?
It is a SID tune, C64 tune that's from 2022, but sounds like it could have been done in 89-ish, but it is new.
That's quite excellent. Thanks very much for your time here at the bar at Edison 2025, and enjoy the rest of the party.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Trident.
You're tuned to Ericade.Radio here, broadcasting live from Edison Down Party 2025. And we just heard some nice music. It was Rapture and Greylag Runners. Before that it was Dragon's Lair with an unknown artist, and we also had Steelhammer's HQ Remake. And before that it was Horace Wimp with Hymn to Aurora. Stay put because we are coming in with a new interview in a few minutes from now. So, we're going on with more music. This time it's Teetow and Jackie Jazz Bunny.
Original dan dan da da. Nobody. Original dan dan. Nobody better. Original dan dan. Original dan dan. Nobody. Original dan dan. Nobody better. Original dan dan. Original dan dan. Da da. Original dan dan. Original dan dan da da. Original dan dan. Original dan dan da da. Da da. Original. Original. Dan dan. Original dan dan. Dan dan. Original. Original. Dan dan. Original dan dan. Dan dan. Original. Original.
Alrighty then, we are done. We are done here with the music for some time. We get an interview instead.
That we do.
Yes, and I'm sitting with Dojo. Is that your name?
Hello, yes.
Dojo.
Real name, but my scene name.
That's your handle or scene name, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
From Revision and also DJ fame, in a way?
I wouldn't call it fame, but yes, I do press play buttons every now and then.
Okay, do you use some kind of tractor or something?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah, I love it. It's other people prefer different software, but I quote unquote grew up on Tractor, and it's been my favorite and go-to software ever since.
Okay, I'm no pro when it comes to this, but isn't it possible to auto pitch so that it matches the pitch to the coming track?
Yes.
Well, and isn't that a little bit cheating?
Yes, it is. And to me, it's I like to see it as I let the software take care of the beat matching, so that I can focus more on selecting the next track, doing a good transition, and I can do transitions that are not as easily possible if you don't have the beat match, especially if you play with turntables that could drift apart over time. You can in Tractor you can run very, very long transitions without having to worry about your turntables drifting apart. But I know I'm taking the easy route there. And
I think most people do, but I just thought it was a magic device, like.
It is, in a sense, but at the end, I mean, it's just maths and raw computing power.
Yeah. So how are you affiliated with Revision?
I'm the host one of the hosts at Revision these days. I became affiliated with Revision a bit earlier. Mostly through the Meteorics, which is an awards show for the demo scene that we run every year. And in the course of organizing that, we run the show at Revision. We are kind of guests there. And in preparing the show, I started turning up at the party early during Bring Up already, and then I started turning up earlier and helping more and more with the Bring Up, and eventually I was completely absorbed in the Orga team.
Okay, and then you became an Orga.
Yeah.
Cool.
And a speaker as well.
And that too. And yeah, it's like they pull you in, and for as long as you don't say no, and I never heard myself say no, because holy crap, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can totally get that. What about the Meteorics? Is that kind of some
award show?
Yeah, but more like an Oscars nomination or for demo.
It's like it's always a little bit cringe to kind of. I always have to cringe internally when I make that comparison, but yes, I like to describe it as the Oscars of the demo scene, simply because there's so many similarities. We look at, we have a jury of like 40-ish people that anyone can apply to join, by the way. And every year we look at the productions released between January 1st and December 31st of the previous year. Every production. I think last year that amounted to 2,600. It's a lot to wade through. But we make an effort to look through all of them to find also the ones that didn't get like maybe the attention they deserved, or that are outstanding in some specific sub-niche field. Mm-hmm. And we then go on to nominate up to 5 of them in some of our categories. There are 12 categories right now. And then early in the year, we announce our nominees. And then a little bit later at Revision, we have this big gala show every Friday at 8. On the big stage, everyone wears a tux and
red carpet.
No red carpet, unfortunately. We used to have a red sofa, and we actually hand out beautiful brass statues to people.
Wow!
So it's a really big thing, and we're trying to do this best of the year kind of thing there.
When did this Meteorics thing start?
I think it was in 2013. I might be a little bit off there, but yeah, we've been doing this. I think we've been doing it for the 11th time this year, and it's been so long that I'm getting fuzzy on the numbers. Might be the 12th, but I think it's the 11th. And I think we started in 2013. And I shouldn't say we, because the first Meteorics were run by by a slightly different team. I joined the year after that, first just as a show orga. Then I said, well, I'm going to organize the show. How about I also run the show? And they were like, yeah, why not? So I went on stage. And then I've been taking up more and more responsibilities. Again, I did not hear myself say no. And there was work to be done, and I ended up doing it. And these days, I am the main orga of that thing with a lot of people in the team that I don't know how I would do this without them.
What's the process there of, like, do you do one large effort during a week of the year, or do you like continuously watch as the years go through of like so you have some recollection of what that demo, what that music piece was about?
It's fun you're asking, because that is actually changing at the moment. We used to do this thing where at the turn of the year we would start sifting through all of those productions. But since we are now doing the nominee reveal show at Mountain Bites, which is in the middle of February, we end up having only 1 month to 1.5 months to do all of that, and that is too little time. And so we are. Last year we started a process where we actually would first do a pre-screening, where we would first take a quick glance at all the 2,600 prods of the year and kind of
skimming through.
Yeah, just skimming through and trying to figure out which ones some of the juries should take a closer look at, and which ones not. Like if you consider that there's a lot of prods released every year on C64 that are basically a single screen with a scroller, and there's a lot of tradition in there. There's a lot of coding skills in there. They are very nice, but they're not exactly Meteorics material, and so we try to find those
uniqueness,
and remove them from the set. We are looking more for something unique.
How is it? I mean, if you come last place on demo party, do you still have a chance with Meteorics?
If your last place was wholly undeserved, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do not look at the placement of the prods, and instead we consider, is this prod interesting or special, or does it stand out in some way?
Can you tell me about one demo that really blew your mind?
Yes. E22 by FCK. I saw that it was released at Edison 22 by FCK, who are in the room behind us. And I don't know how they were, I think... Oh no, I think they actually also rated pretty highly at Edison. Maybe they even won or got second place, something.
I'm checking that now.
Yeah, but to me, it was. I did not know about that production until I kind of stumbled upon it when we were sifting through production. I was like, "Holy fuck, what is this?" And I recommended that prod to the Outstanding Concept jury, and they weren't aware of it before, and they were like, "Holy crap, what is this?"
Okay, and that kind of took it all to the winning point.
They did not win, unfortunately, but they definitely got a nomination that way.
Yeah, great. There is an old rule called Sturgeon's Law that says that 80% of everything is crap. Is there anything to that? If you have to look into the whole heap of things you go through.
No. Most of all, because I would not say that anything the demo scene produces is crap. That said, if you just look at the numbers of our pre-screening process, we end up discarding about a third of the year's productions without a jury deliberately looking at it a second time. And then and then the rest is up to the juries. And most of the time, the juries end up with short lists of like 10 to 20 prods that are really noteworthy to them. And even that doesn't say that all of the prods that didn't make that short list are crap, because there's a lot of great material.
Yeah, I think that's the wrong word to use here, but like extra inspirational, for instance, or like it showcases a grandeur of some sort.
I think there are also plenty of productions that are noteworthy in some way that don't end up making it on any short list, because there are so many productions every year that are truly outstanding in some way, and it's those that we want to highlight.
That might miss the radar otherwise.
Yeah, exactly, and it's more like those are the ones that are exceptional in some way, and then the others that aren't selected in that way are, I would call them medium.
Yeah, okay.
We saw that we had the Edison music history block yesterday, where we played through some of the contributions through history of Edison, and we played a lot of tunes like that ranked 10th or 12th, and they were excellent.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't reach up to the podium, but still they have a certain appeal or a certain uniqueness that like might just reflect how the voting was at the party at the time.
Yeah, or something weird. I don't know, because I can see some artists like 8BM and stuff, and he is kind of always getting a lot less on the ratings than he deserves.
Yeah, there's a lot of name voting there, with the popular people being upvoted, especially in music, but also in other categories. And then there's also the flip side of, how the sad meme of Moppy always finishing second at revision. And I mean, that's one of the saddest tales of the demo scene, if you ask me.
What's that about?
There used to be a demo group called Moppy Productions, a Finnish demo group, and they always made exceptionally artistic and well thought out and beautifully designed demos, and they always finished second. They always participated at revision. They always finished second sometimes against really strong competition, but sometimes against the first place went to Strobo Techno Effect Fest.
Okay.
Which would be technically impressive, whatever, but like in hindsight, it always ends up the Moppy productions that are closer to people's hearts. People remember them way more than they remember the first place.
Okay, what is the core of a very good demo? What makes it stand out?
You tell me. It's always very, very subjective, to be honest. And we try to come up with at least with criteria in the juries. I wouldn't call them objective criteria, because they themselves are still weighed on a subjective basis, especially in music, but also in other aspects. But as a general thing within the Meteorics, we try to look for artistic qualities. We try to look for things like direction or a certain atmosphere. Like, does it stand out in the atmosphere that it creates? Does it do something to the viewer that kind of sticks with the viewer after the demo is gone?
Yeah.
Because that is what makes us remember Moppy demos.
Yeah.
Even 10 years after.
Well, it's time to take a little bit of a music break, but we're coming back and talk a little bit more with you after this song. It's Gods. Remember this one?
Yes, it's from the game Gods.
Absolutely. It was a great game, Gods.
It was, yeah, it was a showcase on the Amiga at least. Very impressive graphics. I'm not sure about the platforming though. But iconic as nevertheless, Into the Wonderful. That's the name of that song. And we're here at the bar at Edison 2025. We're also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Edison Party. And we have no other than Dojo from Revision and the award show. The name which escapes me right now. Meteorix, sorry. Here at the bar. And before the break, we were talking a bit about like what makes a good demo. Do you have any favorites and stuff like that? But obviously, from my point of view, I think a lot of viewers know you from Revision and the award show. And when I saw you first, I don't recall which year, but at that time you were sitting in a living room with D-Fox recapping Revision from the day before. How long have you been in Revision as a, let's call it a front figure?
That started right with the pandemic. We had been talking about me taking over hosting for Revision along with D-Fox a little earlier, and then the pandemic hit, and we had to change plans at very short notice and kind of turn everything into an online event.
Right.
And at that time, it just so happened that D-Fox and myself were living relatively close together in the south of Germany. And so we figured, hey, okay, let's do this now. We're going to record everything in D-Fox's living room, and I'm going to join him there. So I moved in with D-Fox and Drogvin and slept at their place and everything. And we recorded all the moderation from his sofa.
Yeah, it was. I think that was the first kind of breakfast show. I think you call it.
Yeah, that is also a thing we did.
Like a recap.
Yeah, exactly. I think we called it Morning Glory.
Morning Glory. Okay.
Yes. And
which has been a thing ever since.
Yes, it was. We really enjoyed it. I think we didn't do that in the first online Revision in 20. I think we started that in 21. I'm pretty sure it was D-Fox's idea, and after we did that for the first time, we also had musical guests that time, so we interchanged moderation with a little bit of a concert by the 7 Jam crew, and we had such a great time that we decided, well, we can't just stop doing this now. We're in the EVAC again, so we just put a sofa on stage and did it in the EVAC.
Great. 2020 was an interesting year. Then we got this little COVID bug. And I remember saying...
what? Again?
COVID.
I don't remember that.
Nobody does.
No, absolutely not. But really, was it easier to run Revision as a remote party?
Online only event.
I would say it was certainly very different. I would say it was, especially the first time, was very hard because we had to set things up on very short notice. And we were banking on a lot of the team's experience and goodwill and ability and will to pull through. And we got it working. But I would say it sure wasn't easy. And then, I mean, for me it was easy because I just sat on a sofa and
commented.
I just had to look into a camera and talk shit. So I was fine. But I know that for some people, especially CGI, for example, who coordinated the entire stream from start to finish from Helsinki, I don't think the guy has slept during the entire party. I think it was a shitload of work for him.
We talked to Wayland, one of the main organizers here at Edison back in 2023, about how much work goes into planning an event like this, and that was a lot. But Revision is the world's largest demo scene event. When do you start planning for such a thing? And like, I know you have a lot of volunteers, but like, the amount of time it must take must be incredible.
It is a lot of work.
When
I'm going to guess a lot of things I'm going to say. For actual answers, you should probably talk to DFox rather. But
just a
from what I can,
inkling.
yeah, exactly. So as far as I can see, the main organizer team, that's like a few people, which doesn't include me. They get together about the second half of the year before the party, and start planning things, start figuring things out, start figuring out, do we really want to do this again in the first place?
Yeah.
And
the answer is yes.
The answer
should be yes.
Luckily, so far is always yes.
Yeah.
We will see. It is extremely exhausting on everyone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Lastly, you are here now, finally at Edison 2025, a long time in the making. And you're contributing with something here during the event. What is it?
Yeah, I'm going to play a DJ set tonight.
Ah, okay.
DJ.
Cool.
Yeah. At 8 tonight, I'm going to spin some tunes before the final campo block.
Yeah.
And I hope to see all of you dancing. Or if not dancing, just enjoying the music.
Yes, and you can hear all that and more over at twitch.tv/Edison Party. We kind of haphazardly asked you if you have a favorite tune that you want to request, and we can play it later. But no stress if you don't have one.
Oh, I would go for Vic Formation by Malman.
Vic Formation by Malman. We'll dig that up
you should be able to find it
in a few moments. But yes, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we're soon heading off into the first comp of the day, I believe. TIC 80 White Battle.
I think that's it, yeah.
So that would be very interesting. You can watch all that on Twitch as well. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the party. And thank you so much for your time.
Always a pleasure.
All right, it's almost time for the Tick 80 Byte Battle, and at that time Radio will leave the air. So we are saying bye-bye for now, and thank you for listening.
But we'll be back.
Absolutely.
We'll be back commenting later on, probably it's pretty soon, to comment on the Tick 80 Byte Battle. We'll see about that. You can watch it over at twitch.tv/Ericade Edison Party.
Bye-bye.